All right, Nick. Here we go. We're going to get synced up tonight, though. We're going to get synced up. This is biggest bullpen appearance of Tony Santillan's career.
I like this decision from Francona. Just go ahead and say it now before. I like it. He's fresher. Got a day off yesterday. All right. I just saw the first pitch.
Yeah,
Let me see if I can get a pitch clock here.
First pitch has not been thrown yet, and it has
been
thrown. Just got thrown. I'm always about 6 seconds behind you.
You're going to have like 2 seconds of a pitch clock.
Okay,
it's going to start at 7.
7, okay. I haven't not gotten one. It's 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
The 1-0.
I got a strike. Let's double check this again. That's 1-1.
1-1, yeah. They're showing sheets.
Yeah.
Sheets.
8, 7, 6, 5. Pitch.
Yeah, you're maybe like a half second.
All right.
Ahead,
Well, go ahead and go live.
We're good. We're like a half second ahead.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay. Strike.
Good pitch.
I'm going to pause play real fast because I think I'm just like... I think I might have just nailed that.
All right. Oh. Gavin Sheets, man. Guy's been a killer. Yeah. Kind of hung that. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
It was actually hit pretty decent down the line, too. It wasn't like it was a broken bat flare or something. Just got to find a way to score last inning by Marte. I know that I shouldn't be worried about that, but it just feels like that was such a momentum thing. I tell you what, I'm begging that they bunt this guy over to third.
It would be interesting if they did because they took O'Hearn out of the game.
I just want the out.
Well, I'm just saying if they did, I don't know if you'd walk Merrill though because he can steal second, but
no, I'm not walking anybody. I honestly, at this point, I know it sounds insane to say this, but like if you guaranteed me right now that we're going to extra innings 2-2, I think I'm taking it.
I don't know. I think I'm gonna hope and pray that somehow Santiago can find his way out of this.
All right, that's fair. I mean, I get it.
I don't think I'm taking it.
I don't know if you're maybe. I would say that might be more
because you're
indicative of the fact that the Reds just can't score in extra innings.
Well, yeah, but they're still gonna get an extra runner in extra innings. Oh, there we go.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're basically saying that we don't feel great about it.
It's the same thing. Your best hope is the exact same situation the next inning if you score. All right, that's a big out. This is interesting. I mean, obviously you want to go, like Jackson Merrill, but the guy on deck, I don't know who the Padres bench is. The guy on deck is hitting 083. He's the backup shortstop.
If we score, it'd be the exact same
situation. But they could take him out of... No, they can't take him out of the game. Well, they just brought Jose Iglesias in to pinch run. And he's pinch running for the DH. So he would be the shortstop. So they would have to lose the DH if they pinch it for McCoy.
Yeah.
Cronenworth can play shortstop. I don't know. There's a lot of moving pieces here. And they just said Bryce Johnson's on deck now. They would pinch it for him. God bless Petco. That wasn't even close. That wasn't even on the warning track. Oh man.
That legit just took my breath away when he hit that ball.
Yeah, because they barely got to the warning track.
I know it wasn't close to going out, but
yeah.
Boy, it looked.
No,
like
I
know.
That
thing was maybe just flying.
Looked like it would be in the riverboat in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
All right. So pinch hitter Bryce Johnson, Cronenworth on deck. Bryce Johnson's played very well for them in a small sample, hitting .367. Please, God, please. Just let us get this one.
Felon.
Let us keep alive.
Felon's just asking me, and it's gonna make my heart sink even more. He said, "Trace, do you want Stevenson catching on some knees right now?" No, I don't, dude. I don't.
Love it.
I don't.
Right, come on.
This the home plate umpire can't see strikes at halftime anyways.
Well, at least we got a right-handed pitcher in.
That's what I tell you.
Oh.
Throw it wherever you want, baby.
We'll take that one.
It was close, to be fair. That thing was right on the edge. I don't ask for a lot, Nick, but just one time, please, one time. All right, here we go. Come on, please.
Elevate that fastball a little bit more, see if you can get him to chase.
Yeah, I agree. Just throw it by him again. Throw it a little higher. Throw it by him. Throw it higher. Throw it high. Get him! Get him! What kahunas? Kid show. God bless the Mets, too. God bless the Mets. We'll be right back. I can't believe this is where we are. I cannot believe it.
And a bench to bench. Change in the air to deep right field. Back goes Clemente. That's the save. He's done. Get out of here, baseball. It's gone. Oh, my God. You believe it. Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep. In the dirt. It's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant. Larkins won the game. That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none. Welcome, Joe Randa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again. Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive. Hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club. Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb. Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again. The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center sink back to the wall. Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Line to right field. Genius, the first run ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Holy moly, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
I can't believe it. I genuinely can't believe it. I have absolutely looked myself in the mirror and I have said, Trace, you've learned your lesson. Don't do it again. Don't do it again. You've done it 3 times this year where you've watched this team and you know who they are. They can't hit. Their defense at times is sporadic. Their pitching's great, yeah, but they're never going to amount to anything. Just get it through your dumb head. And I got to tell you, when they left the bases loaded against the New York Mets and found a way to lose that game, that was it. That was the final straw. And I got to tell you, man, I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time not jumping all the way back in and feeling like a complete idiot again. I don't know. Nick, Reds win 2-1. They escape what seemed like 2 losses on back-to-back nights. I mean, you couldn't have possibly asked any fan that has watched this team all year long on both of these nights heading into what was, I don't know, the 7th inning of the game and felt like they were going to win. I will say it. They stole both of them. Hey, they didn't theoretically steal them in a way, but you know what? I would say these are 2 games on back-to-back nights that I don't think bad teams win. I'm not saying we're a good team, Nick, but I will openly say bad teams don't win the games that they won on back-to-back nights. I'd also like to say, for those that are wondering, before I hand this over to Nick, I'm trying to get this open. I mean, Nick, it's been so long that the alcohol has literally superglued this thing shut. I can't get it open. I mean, I'm cranking on it. As hard as you can. And it came loose just in time, folks. I'm not going to say I'm all the way back, folks, because I think that would be a little disingenuous. But we're headed to Sacramento. And by the end of that road trip, I might be all the way back. We'll see. Nick, I'd like to say the biggest win of the season, but maybe I'm a little prisoner of the moment. You let me know if I am.
It feels like every win the rest of the way is going to be the biggest win of the season. It's just kind of the nature of September baseball. I'll tell you what, say whatever you want about this team, but they just won a series against the New York Mets, and they just won a series against the San Diego Padres, the 2 teams that are 2nd and 3rd for the NL wild card right now. So this team has won some big series this year. They've lost some stinkers, but man, they've won some big series. And just the thing that gets you excited, if somehow, some way you can sneak in the playoffs, is they can beat anyone. They can play with anyone. There's no question about it. And man, what a win tonight. And just this game tonight. I mean, when Brian Hayes got robbed of that home run, you'd had a garbage strike zone all night that wasn't in your favor. It was just like, oh, just not going to happen. It is what it is. They're not going to happen. I guess we hope the Mets will give us some help tomorrow while we're off, and it is what it is. But this team, man, this stupid team.
Stupid. Say it again.
They fight. They fight. They won't die easy.
You know what this team reminds me of? They remind me of that kid in gym class that's just not very good. Maybe not the most athletic kid, but damn, do they never stop trying. I mean, they just don't stop trying. As soon as you think that you can maybe dishearten them just enough to quit, here they come right back again. I don't know. I mean, listen, is it of the variety that many may say? No, but it is a red cream soda, so shout out to that. And I'm at the point now where I just give up. I really do. I feel like I have this team nailed. And I also do want to say, They scored 2 runs again tonight. I mean, this team can't score runs. I know they're facing great pitching. I totally know they're facing great pitching. I'm not naive to that. But my golly, can this baseball team not score runs? But you know what they can do, Nick? They can pitch the hell out of it. They can pitch the hell of it. I mean, this team could pitch like quite literally if they pitched for any team in Major League Baseball, their fan base would brag about how great they are. And all I'm trying to say in a non-poetic way is that they're the best pitching staff in Major League Baseball. And if they're not, then we could have a reasonable debate. So that said,
you know who else can't score runs? The Mets and the Padres. I just watched 6 straight games against those teams that are in playoff spots, and they didn't score runs.
Yeah, well, they found ways to win games, I guess, earlier in the year when we didn't. But otherwise, I'm shout out to the Mets, man. Shout out to the absolute New York Mets. You guys are the best. I mean, you guys are absolutely fantastic. I mean, every time I think I'm out, I look over and there the Mets are. They just continue to find ways to kind of keep you around and hang you in there. And is it crazy to think, Nick? I mean, I don't want to go down memory lane here for just a minute, but why not before we get into the show? Memory lane. I mean, we had the Mets in a spot at the beginning of the All-Star, right after the All-Star break, that we could have swept them. And I get it. We won the series. We had bases loaded, an opportunity to just absolutely bury them on Friday night, not that far ago. And we let them get off the hook. And yes, I get it. We won that series. But the idea that we could have possibly, just possibly, saved a game on opening day with maybe a real closer, and one of 2 of those games, we'd not only be in the lead for the playoffs, we'd be a game and a half effectively up in the playoff race because of the tiebreaker. It makes you feel like you're taking crazy pills. I mean, it really does. I don't know where we're at in Reds fandom, how you're feeling. Perhaps you think this is fool's gold. If you do, completely understand. If you're all the way back in and you're drinking the Kool-Aid yet again, I understand as well. At this point, to each their own. You fan however you want. I've thought, Nick, you had mentioned, we'll do the box score recap here in a second. You bring all these points up. I thought the fact that we couldn't get a run in the 9th inning felt like we were doomed. And then you get the leadoff double and we save it. We'll talk all about it and more here in just a second. It is going to be the box score recap presented by Nick Kirby. We have a ton of super chats we'll get to here in just a second. We also have, obviously, the deep drive of the day. And I do want to let everyone know it is okay to not be okay. We'll get to that in just a bit as well. But right now, if you're thinking to yourself, this whole thing makes no sense, I'm right there with you.
Ellie De La Cruz getting interviewed on the post-game broadcast. Oh, man, that warms my heart. All right, let's do a box score recap. Reds at the San Diego Padres, the rubber game of a 3-game set at Petco Park. Andrew Abbott on the mound for the Reds against Nick Pivetta. Andrew Abbott was absolutely brilliant early in the game. The only blemish on the night was a solo home run by Fernando Tatis in the 5th that put the Padres up 1-0. Nick Pivetta was unfortunately even better, at least on the scoreboard. It looked like the Reds were going to tie the game against the final batter that Pivetta faced in the game, as Brian Hayes put a beautiful swing on a fly ball to left field, but Ramon Laureano robbed them of a game-tying home run. In the top of the 8th, the Padres went to the bullpen, and it was Kyle Hart instead of some of the Padres' top arms, as the Reds had worked the Friars' pen the first 2 games. TJ Friedel got on with 1 out with a bunt single. Friedel moved up to second base on a ground out by Noelvi Marte. Then the Padres brought in their all-star left-handed reliever Adrian Morihone to face Elly De La Cruz. Elly fell behind 1-2. One of those strikes, as often the case in this ballgame, a terrible call, but Elly fought off a pitch up in the zone for a single to right field to tie the game. Padres then elected to intentionally walk Austin Hayes and Miguel Andujar. He lives off the bench. He singled to put the Reds up 2-1. Andrew Abbott came back out in the bottom of the 8th and was electric. 1-2-3 8th inning, striking out Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado. Reds did have the bases loaded with Noelvi Marte up and 1 out in the top of the 9th and failed to score, so we go to the bottom of the 9th. Tony Santillan instead of Emilio Pagan. Santillan gave up a leadoff double to Reds killer this year, Gavin Sheets, but he got the next 3 batters out. Reds win 2-1. Reds now 74-72 on the season. And the Mets and the Giants both lost. So your Cincinnati Reds 2 games out of a playoff spot with 16 games to play.
Yeah, we are officially in scoreboard watching season 100%. I know that we get made fun of on this show, especially you do, Nick, for checking out the scoreboard sometimes at the All-Star break. I kind of understand.
Opening day,
but,
man.
Yeah, I listen. Shout out to the Diamondbacks. Shout out to the Phillies. Thank you guys so much for helping us out. We very much appreciate it. And shout out to DSC. You know why? Because they are a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil collection, aggregation, and sales. You can visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. And the deep drive of the day today is going to be a robbed home run by Brian Hayes. Shout out to the Padres on doing that on back-to-back nights. 97.7 off the bat, 366 feet. Win probability for your Cincinnati Reds would drop 2% down to 20%. But we all know it'd wind up being 100% a victor. And that's all that really matters. Nick, this is it, man. This is why you sign up to be a fan, is for moments like we had tonight. Like it or not, that was every bit of riveting as what I would expect kind of a playoff game to feel like. You know your season's in the balance. You know you need really no margin for error here. I was thinking we had said openly, I think you needed to go, I don't really remember at this point what it was. Maybe it was 14-5 over your last, 18 or whatever that number ended up being that we kind of settled on and agreed upon. We've lost one time, I think, since then, or maybe twice since then. And we openly admit that, you can give away 5, maybe 6, but every single night you feel like you can't give one away. And largely because you just feel like you're going to lose at some point. But any of these games that are in the margins, you've got to find a way to win. And they've done that on back-to-back nights. And I just feel like, as I said before, that in order for this team to do something special, they're going to have to do something special, which obviously sounds very, very obvious. But they've not done that yet this year. They've not strung enough consecutive winning baseball over the course of a week and a half, 2-week stretch that's made you feel like they have it in them. And every time they get your hopes up, they let you down. They now are finding themselves in a position where they go into what is not even a Major League Baseball city, Nick, and they're going to have to play winning baseball. We'll see if they're able to do that. Let's talk about Andrew Abbott. He is by far the storyline of this game. I know it's going to get buried on some other headlines because of the big hit by Elly, because of the situation that happened in the 9th inning as a whole when Marte couldn't get him in. And then obviously you had the leadoff double, but Santillan was able to strand him. I get all that. That seemed like a big deal, and it was a big deal. But Andrew Abbott, for a guy that we have on this show been very concerned about Is he capable of being able to be a reliable pitcher down the stretch? Is he going to wear down? Is he going to do what he's done in season past? Tonight was, and again, I'm going to be maybe a little too overzealous on tonight, but I have a hard time believing it's not one of the better starts he's ever had in a Reds uniform, all things considered.
No, certainly, I think his most important start in a Reds uniform. And the fact that he came back out in the 8th, the decision at the time where I thought was nuts. But, hey, I'll give it to Abbott. I'll give it to Francona. It certainly worked tonight. And it wasn't even a lucky Carlos Santana near home run in this one. It was pure dominance. But, no, Andrew Abbott, I mean, this is a guy that I was very concerned with. This was a guy that, to be honest, I thought maybe was 1 or 2 starts away from, I'm sorry, losing his job for the rest of the year, because there's not a season to get it corrected. And he's had this track record of not pitching well in September. And to his credit, he actually didn't pitch in September last year, so it was really just 2023. But he had it in August and had to be shut down last year as well. But yeah, this was a incredible start. He outpitched Pivetta. If you're looking at like any sort of StatCast, he only gave up 5 hard hit balls the whole night. Pivetta gave up about 10 hard hit balls. So the contact against Abbott was very minimal. Only walked 2 batters. Yeah, this was just a monster start from Andrew Abbott. And certainly gives you it gives you more confidence, because you just weren't sure what you're going to get out of Abbott. This doesn't mean his next start he's going to dominate, but it certainly makes you feel a lot better.
Well, it's just at this point, it ain't even really about. It's not about the semantics of it. I don't really give a damn how he looks theoretically down the stretch. Does he give this team a chance to win when he goes out there and takes the ball? Because we need him to be able to do that, and he obviously delivered that and more tonight. Andrew Abbott's been a guy that has progressed incredibly, and as much as I have complained about the lack of development in this organization, specifically more or less from a position player standpoint, I would also say that the opposite has been true. There has been great development with the starting pitchers, and I don't know really how much more you can say about the starting pitching outside the fact that they're the best in Major League Baseball. I've continued to say that. And, I don't know. I'm thrilled to death that we get to continue to watch meaningful baseball. And I know that sounds kind of, maybe loserish to say, but that's where I am as a fan right now. I've just been disheartened over the past week and a half by the fact that they've kind of let a huge opportunity slip through the cracks, it felt like. And they've continued to get opportunities, obviously, because the Mets have just absolutely fallen apart. And let's face it, like, if the Reds have played good baseball over the last 3-4 weeks, boy, oh boy, we would be sitting in a great spot. Now, that didn't happen, so I get that we can't sit here and keep going back to the, I guess the crying over spilled milk type situation. But I'm just thankful that Andrew Abbott was not only able to bounce back, but he's able to continue the momentum that I feel like the starting pitching staff has as a whole, right? It's almost like they feed off of each other in a way, and I'm glad to see that they've continued that trend, because, not to get overly crazy about it, Nick, but I do think if they had like 2 or 3 or 4 bad starts in a row, there's a small chance that there's bad mojo that kind of gets inside the staff, and they start to feel too much pressure, and they start to feel like they got to be the guy that goes out and makes a huge start to get him over the hump. And he's now kind of continued the trend of great starting pitching in his Andrew Abbott. So what more is there to say about a guy that quite literally gave you as good of a chance to win a game as you humanly can?
And Abbott knows who he's going up against today. Like, he knows how dominant Pivetta's been, how dominant he's been of late. And I mean, it wasn't like, he came out and pitched well thinking, oh, you know what, the team might be able to put me up 5 runs tonight. He knew you were probably going to have to be close to dominant against the Padres. And so for him to step up tonight, I mean, just an unbelievable performance by him. And an incredible year from Andrew Abbott. Incredible year.
Yeah, the kind of year that makes you go from a 79-win team at the beginning of the year to maybe an 82, 83-win team is where you're at. I mean, when you look back at this season and you ask yourself, well, how did they get one over on Vegas? Well, the answer is 100% guys like Andrew Abbott. Listen, this guy has struggled. He's struggled, and he's struggled some more. There's nobody that has had a bigger bullseye on his back than Elly De La Cruz. He's had a bad month. He's had a bad second half. But tonight, he showcased, Nick, why you just can't give up on a guy like this in regards to just understanding the value he has to this team. He's their best position player, to be very clear, and he was able, with a left-handed pitcher on the mound as a right-handed hitter, to get one of the bigger hits he's had all year. And I'm not even saying it was the most beautiful hit, but given the circumstance, based off the previous history that he's had in clutch moments, if we want to call it that, this was a massive hit. And then more importantly, Nick, maybe just as important, he found a way to steal second base and then obviously scores on a base hit, Nick. I don't know if many people are going to remember that or talk about it, but that's a huge stolen base in that spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I forgot that in the rundown. Great point as well. Last 2 games, 6 total hard hit balls from Elly De La Cruz. So nice to see him hitting the ball hard, and even more important than hitting the ball hard, I think the large portion of his struggles is mental more than anything else.
Definitely.
Some of it I think is fatigue. I don't know if there's a question, but I think it's far more mental than anything else. So for Elly De La Cruz to get to fly across the country feeling good, getting a day off, not flying across the country, guys, flying across California.
Well, Sacramento, who cares?
It's almost like across the country.
Right.
But for him, I mean, that's just got to be a great feeling, and going into a ballpark that is almost Coors Field-like. I don't know if a lot of people know that, the way that it's played this year. Could be a ballpark, could be a pitching staff that Elly De La Cruz could have a special weekend.
Well, you know what I was thinking is that Marte is struggling right now, right? I think that it's kind of gone under the radar a little bit, but he's kind of fallen in a little bit of a slump, and he's had some huge opportunities too that he's completely failed on. Nobody's really brought it up because he's maybe not as big of a target as Elly De La Cruz is, but the truth is that Marte has had back-to-back situations late in games where he's completely failed. And I would say they were even more lucrative opportunities than Elly's had. We've had back-to-back opportunities with guys on third or bases loaded with less than 2 outs, and we've failed to get the guy in, and we've actually failed to put the ball in play twice now. So the difference, though, is at one point this team could never pick each other up. I mean, there was a fielding error here that didn't give up a run, but then the pitcher would give up back-to-back hits, and then all of a sudden those runs would score, and it would make you feel like, oh man, if we didn't make that error. Tonight, Elly De La Cruz picked up Marte. That was a massive moment, and I'm hopeful that that's the type of thing that will springboard this team into starting to feel a little more confidence that they can do this comeback thing. That even if they are down in the game 1 or 2 runs late, that they do have the firepower to maybe find a way to come back. I go back to 2023, and I just marvel at the idea that we had all these young guys, kind of like Sal Stewart right now a little bit. You know, he just expects that he's going to be unbelievably good because that's all he's known his whole entire life. And he even said when he came up here, you know, that his plan was to come up here and win a World Series. I mean, you don't want to take that bridled confidence away from anybody, right? Like I feel like whatever happened though to some of these young guys, they've kind of gotten developed into the league. They realize maybe how hard Major League Baseball is at times. They've been humbled, and they've lost this edge about them that I do think they had in 2023. It might have been naive confidence. I don't give a damn what you want to call it, but they did feel like they could come back from almost any margin. I mean, they'd be down 5-1 in the second inning, and I remember vividly, Nick, thinking to myself, they're going to find a way to come back and tie this thing and or win it late. Like, that's the confidence level I have. Now it felt like this team, more or less, you're down 2, maybe 3 runs at any point in the game, and you don't feel like you're going to be able to make a comeback. And they've done that. They've found a way to get off the mat back-to-back nights and rally and respond. And that is a huge, huge deal moving forward. And we'll see if they can take it to Sacramento, because that's all this excuse me, is about now, is can they get hot in the near future. And you know what I've said 1,000 times, what it's going to take for this team to make the postseason, and I still believe it. They're going to have to get to 5 in a row at minimum, and we'll see if they're capable of doing it at some point. It'd be nice to see. Anything else that you want to mention with Elly before we move on?
No, one thought about Marte. Yeah, Marte has really struggled. I think it probably got forgotten about because it was in the first inning of this game. Marte did just miss a home run, hit a ball really well. It's actually the furthest hit ball of the night for the Reds. Second batter of the game, obviously. So, again, this is though a weekend where you hope that some of these offensive players can kind of be like sort of a get right weekend. The Padres threw out great pitcher after great pitcher after great pitcher the last 3 days. I think they, in this series, deserve more credit for the Reds' struggles than the Reds players themselves. Now, the whole season's a totally different story, but I think that the Padres pitching was the story of maybe why the Reds' offense wasn't incredible. But this weekend, hopefully, you can have a different story with that.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to find a way to win us some games is the offense, because I just think that it seems like this is just not a sustainable model of success, Nick. 2 runs, 3 runs, 2 runs. I get that the Padres have good pitching, but it feels like we've already kind of worn out our welcome mat when it comes to low offensive production, no matter who's pitching, just based off the performances we've had all year. So I don't know. We shall find out. All right, we got a ton of supers, and we also are going to get to those just a minute. But I also want to remind everybody you can text and or call 988 day or night. It's okay to not be okay. You can also visit mantherapy.org to get help. As a reminder, it is an anonymous hotline 24/7. We have plenty of supers to get to here. Let's start with them right now. We're going all the way to the top. Jacob Doyle says, these West Coast games are too much. I can't stay up this late. You're telling me, man. You're telling me. This is like right up Nick's alley, so I know that he's used to working the graveyard shift. I personally am not. These games and these series absolutely wreck my, I don't know what they call that, circadian rhythm, your schedule. I'm not totally sure. That circadian rhythm thing was something I just pulled right out of left field, and it just felt right. I don't know if that's actually a real thing or not. RD711 says, the team that refuses to quit. ATOBTTR. He's not wrong. She's not wrong. RD711, shout out to you. Thank you for the super chat. Future Talent back in here again tonight said, Reds win. Ellie came through. He came through in a big, big way. Tosh Simmons says, fireball for series wins. Just letting me know right off the rip that we needed some fireball. It took me every bit of like 4 or 5 minutes to get that thing off from the last time we've used it. Riverfront Randy jumping in saying that September Abbott, never a doubt. Yeah, never a doubt, man. You're right. Never a doubt. I got to be honest. I've had plenty of doubts, but you know what? Tonight, it kind of gave me a boost of confidence in Andrew Abbott moving forward. Chris Ackerman says, huge hit by Ellie tonight. We are getting closer. We are getting closer. We got to keep the pedal to the metal, though, folks. Future Talent chimes in again, says, all odds against us tonight. Bad ump, home run robbery, and the Red Legs still pull it off. What a damn series. What a season.
I can't wait to retweet that umpire scorecard and said still won.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to wait to see it. I know the last time I thought that the scorecard was going to be absolutely one way or humongous lopsided. I thought, it came out and I thought they were lying. So who knows? Maybe.
Well, I'll say that. I'll say this about the umpire. As I mentioned many times, I listen to the radio broadcast, and Chris Welsh was complaining. Chris Welsh is like he's buddies with all the umpires, and he had enough of Chad Fairchild's strike zone. So if Chris Welsh is going that hard, it's a pretty atrocious strike zone.
Yeah, no, I do. I was driving back home from something I had to run and do for work, and yeah, I was listening to the radio, and I think he had said Andrew Abbott's starting to take some offense to it, and as he should. I was like, damn, there's Welsh is going hard in the paint a little bit. Mike Dean says, not gonna lie, cashed out my FanDuel bet mid-ninth, no free ads. But I get it. I understand. It felt terrible. It felt absolutely disgusting after that leadoff double. Future Talent says, ignite the damn night. I'll do it with you, Trace. Well, you should have done it. We already ignited the night. Ned Flanders says, you wanted your heart pumping, Trace. Well, how does it feel? I blacked out when Merrill hit that fly ball, but I'm alive, and so are the Reds. Yeah, I'll tell you how it feels. It feels like I've never went skydiving before, but when that ball left Merrill's bat, I would assume that's how it feels when you jump directly out the first time. It's just kind of like this frozen in time moment, and then it kind of like, maybe I don't know. I've never done it, but I would assume you kind of relax for at least a second before you realize that you might die if the parachute doesn't open. But who's counting? Carson Van Hanger says, remember when the Deads couldn't win a series after losing game 1? I might be all the way back in. LFG, hashtag ATOBTTR, T. I don't know what the T is, but I think that's just excitement with an extra T there. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've had this team dead so many times, I can't count. I mean, they're more than a cat. They got more than 9 lives. Chris Ackerman says, Kirby, favorable September schedule ahead with a couple question marks. Let's not do that. Don't do it. Don't do it. Let's not do it. Let's not do it. We can show the schedule. We can show the schedule.
So brutal.
It's so brutal.
We're cooked.
Thank you, Nick. That's what I'm talking about. Have you ever seen the A's play?
Sure they're going to start Skeens all 3 games.
Exactly. Now you're talking. That's what I'm talking about. For those that are wondering, shout out to Craig on the behind the scenes. He's showing the NL wildcard race with the upcoming schedule. We do have the Cubs. Who cares about them at the end of the day? We have the Brewers. Who cares about them at the end of the day? And the Cardinals. But if you are paying attention, the Padres, they do have Arizona 4 times, Philadelphia 3 times. The Giants have Philadelphia 3 times, and the Los Angeles Dodgers 3 times. They actually play the Dodgers 7 times here over the next 2 weeks, which is nice. So
Reds do have the tiebreaker over the Padres now.
Yes, they do. They have it over the Padres.
You're 5 behind them. It seems impossible, but if for some reason you played really well and the Mets got hot and the Padres crapped the bed, you never know. So hey, I'll take any possible path that you can possibly have. I will correct something. I read the wrong division last night. The Reds are probably cooked with the Giants in terms of tiebreaker.
Okay, so we just need them to lose.
But I did not think of this scenario. What if the Reds, Mets, and Giants all finish the season tied? Who would win that tiebreaker? Your Cincinnati Reds, because the Reds have the best record head-to-head. The Mets won the season series against the Padres, so the Reds have the best record among the 3 teams by a game. So if somehow all 3 teams ended tied, which, is not the craziest thing, they're jumbled up, the Reds would be the team to benefit. And I tell you what, as a guy who's talked about tiebreakers starting in April for about 3 years, I would love nothing more than the Reds to get in on a tiebreaker. I think that might be my favorite way to get in the playoffs.
You're sick. You're a sicko. This is what appears to be
Kirby.
This is what appears to be. I'm guessing the Mets schedule. Maybe I don't know. What the hell am I looking at here? This has got to be the Mets schedule. The reason I'm questioning it is because somehow we got a screen grab from the non-scores from previous days. I don't know how that happened, but nonetheless, shout out to Craig behind the scenes for having that. I don't know where the hell he's had that thing ready for a month. Anyway, we got the Mets. They got to obviously finish out the series finale there against the Phillies. And then they have some other meaningful baseball games as Craig takes the graphic away. You can look them up. You know their schedule. There they are. They got the Rangers, the Padres, the Nationals, the Cubs, and the pesky Marlins, man. The pesky Marlins. Not a team you want to play in the last
week. Worst case scenario to play in the last week of the series.
You don't want to face those Marlins, especially on the road. That'd be the worst time to go. It'd be like, I think Tommy Thrall gave the analogy for the Marlins ballpark as a dentist office. Very sterile, he said.
That would be 99% Mets fans there that weekend, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, it definitely would. It's probably a bunch of snowbirds from New York that would be there.
They probably would have people fly down for that series,
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Not totally sure. In fact, I would say if the Mets got to that point, they might be so disgusted with the Mets that they might just be completely out on them regardless. It is funny how your perspective changes on your team depending on where you're at. If you're 4 games up and you blow it and you get down to the last series and you're trying to hold on, Everybody hates the team's guts. If you're like the Reds and you kind of blown it earlier in the year, but you make a strong push towards the end, everybody's all the way back in, and they're thinking their team's the greatest. Perspective is funny. All right, let's get through the rest of these super chats.
Hold on. I got one little random symmetry here. Reds' last series is against the Brewers in Milwaukee, and 1999, the Cincinnati Reds' last series was in Milwaukee against the Brewers. Reds rallied off 2 wins in the final 2 days of the year to force a tiebreaker game, which we don't have to worry about tiebreaker games anymore. Nope. But a little history may be repeating itself.
We'll see. Let's hope the Reds find a way to get in the postseason. I don't give a damn how they do it. Ross says the Rangers versus the Mets, Giants versus the Dodgers, golden opportunity this weekend. It's an opportunity to hopefully find a way to win 5 games in a row. That's what I think. Bill Furman says, we better not have another Sunday in Oakland with Espinal in the lineup. Oh, gosh. Bill,
Sacramento.
Yeah, at least we're not in Oakland. There's no doubt about it. I mean, Nick, you ready for this? Batting leadoff, Kevin Newman. Batting second, Spencer Steer. Batting third, you ready for this one? Stuart Fairchild. Batting
they were facing
third.
The lefty.
I don't give a damn who they were facing. Batting fourth, Tyler Stevenson. Batting fifth, Henry Ramos. Batting sixth, Nick Senzel. Okay, ready for this one? Batting seventh, is it Matt or Mark? I don't know. Reynolds.
Ooh, lefty killer, Matt Reynolds.
Matt Reynolds. It wasn't Mark Reynolds.
Show some respect.
Sorry, my apologies. Hitting eighth, Jose Barrero, and hitting ninth, Kurt Casale. That is the lineup that this baseball team ran out, I must remind you, 2 years ago. 2 years ago, when we were trying to get ourselves in a spot to make a postseason. I get it was earlier in the year. I get it. I understand. But we were trying to win a meaningful game before we went to San Diego. And that's the lineup that we ran out? Golly, what a poverty team that was at that time.
You seem to conveniently forget that they scored 4 runs in that game. And
that's because they brought guys off the bench.
Every single starter, except for Tyler Stevenson and Kurt Casale, got a hit. Matt Reynolds got a hit. Jose Barrero got a hit.
They probably
Henry
hit 6
Ramos
times.
got 2 hits.
Don't let stats and facts get in the way of a good story, Nick. Stop.
Do you know who else got 2 hits?
Probably Barrero.
Kevin
Of course
Newman.
he did. Old concrete Kevin Newman feet. Yep. All right. Thank you, Bill, for the super chat down memory lane there. M says, I watch every game from PDX. Since they won the series, I'll be at the A series. LFG Reds. There you go. Am I supposed to know what PDX is? Is that some kind of airline or airport code? Like Phoenix?
I don't know. It's Urban Dictionary, this.
Fair enough. Let me know when you get to it. Davis Rafferty said...
slang term from Portland, Oregon. I think that's the airport.
Yeah, the Oregon. Yeah, all right. Portland, Oregon. There we go. They're going to the A series. Shout out to M. Davis Rafferty says, Nick, you've defended Ellie to no end. By God, did he come through tonight. Huge stolen base as well. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, Nick. You got people in the chat sending you some super chats on a night where Ellie finally came through for the Reds.
My boldest take, Ellie De La Cruz defender.
That's what they say,
20 years from now. That Kirby, man, he defended Ellie De La Cruz. Can you believe it?
Yeah. I mean... Yeah, defending Ellie or defending
I've defended
Kyle
some
Farmers
terrible. I have defended some terrible players. We're worried about Ellie De La Cruz.
Yeah,
come on.
Neil Harris, shout out to Waffle House. Neil Harris, no free ads. Bengals and Reds over 500 on September 10th.
There you go.
There you go. A little Cincinnati love right there. Casey Howard says the Padres flaunting lefties in the pen deserve to lose. They were bringing out a lefty for another lefty. I'm like, Lee, you want to share some of those with our sorry team? That'd be
scouting
nice.
report said lefty.
Golly. By the way, it reminds me, how many times, I'm going to keep saying it, Nick, how many times does TJ Friedel going to get away from getting a bunt hit on the left-handed pitcher? This dude can't keep getting away with this. He does it every single time.
I mean, you should have 7 infielders out there.
I mean, seriously.
Take everyone out of the outfield. You can't hit it out there.
Damn, dude. It's insane. But you know what? Hell with it. They don't want to stop it. We'll let them keep doing it. Casey Howard says, he already said that Padres are flaunting lefties. I'm sorry. Ross Goudry says, what do you think they'll do with Burns now? They're going to stick him in the pen, I think, right? I mean,
we have that on the back half. I want to kind of have that as a nice little clean segment, if that's okay.
Well, go ahead. Lead right into it, big boy. That's the end of the Super Chats, and that's the next subject.
All right. Well, thanks for the Super Chat. Reds announced today. Well, they didn't announce. Reported that the Reds will activate Chase Burns. This is from Terry Francona, so it's pretty official. Going to activate Chase Burns on Friday. We don't know who the odd man out will be. Yasser Zulueta or Lyon Richardson. I don't really think it matters that much. Burns will be on a restricted, what was the official word? Some sort of restricted limit. So I don't know, Trace. I kind of read that as like he's not going to be available to pitch maybe back-to-back days. That's probably what I would guess restricted means. They're probably going to maybe try to have him pitch 2 or 3 innings and on certain nights, and he gets like 3 days off or something like that. Certainly, though, I'll take that. I mean, the Reds haven't been even using their last couple relievers, so It's not like they've really been in a spot, knock on wood, that they are desperate to have every single one of their 14 pitchers available. But I mean, I think this has the potential to be a huge deal. I mean, this bullpen did a great job in this Padres series, but I mean, you definitely are running on fumes. And I mean, if you have Chase Burns available on Friday night for Singer goes 6, you bring in Burns for the 7th and 8th. I mean, that makes every part of the bullpen, at least on that day, a lot easier to navigate.
I think it's the most logical solution for where they're at, and the need that they have is to put Chase Burns in the bullpen. It also gives them the chance to kind of probably more or less, in my opinion, be able to handle his workload a little bit better as well. I know that when you go and you could say, well, you can throw him every 5th day, and that seems to be a pretty obvious way to handle. Well, you just don't know how those starts are going to go, right, Nick? He might have a start where he's throwing the ball really, really well. You're in a 1-0 game, and you're thinking to yourself in the 6th inning that you can't take him out, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in the 8th inning at 90 pitches, and he could still look dominant, and you're looking at yourself and you're like, we can't take him out. I don't think that they really want to put themselves in too many of those situations where they have to make some really, really tough decisions. When you're in the bullpen, let's face it, you're more or less, if you have success, you're not going to be throwing a significant amount of pitches anyways in an inning. And if he's not having success in an inning, Nick, then they can go out there and they can probably pull him and just say, well, they're pulling him because he's not being able to get guys out. I think it just protects them from what they're concerned about, which is obviously, the taxing of the arm or taxing of the, of the body or whatever term you want to use, because I know it's not always the arm that could possibly, become worn down. But I don't know. I mean, it just feels like Chase Burns in the bullpen is what this team needs, and that's what they need the most, especially when you factor in the idea that the starting pitchers have been and continue to be good. As long as we can stay healthy, I giggle because it's always right there in the back of my mind that in a week's notice we might be sitting there saying, you need Chase Burns in the rotation now because you don't have a choice. We shall find out, but Chase Burns could be a big weapon, and he's one of those guys where you could say, looking back on it, if they were to find a way to somehow sneak into the postseason, if they were to do something that you could consider special, Chase Burns could be a large part of that because he has the stuff to be able to get anybody out in this league with his stuff. You watch other teams that are really, really good bullpens, Nick. It feels like they have guys that come in that have Chase Burns type of stuff time and time again. Meanwhile, sometimes when we get a little bit lower on our depth chart of starting or on relief pitching, we're kind of just trying to get guys out by pitching. Like, let's face it, our closer in Emilio Pagan, he's not the most overpowering guy. I mean, he's probably, for most good bullpens, he's a 7th inning guy, something like that, if I had to guess. No, I'm not trying to downplay Emilio Pagan. I'm just showcasing the fact that the Reds don't have that many high leverage, good
stuff guys in the bullpen, and he would be a good welcome addition to that.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would say, well, Burns is better than Littell. Are you sure that Burns is better than Littell over the next 4 starts, especially Burns? He's been out for a while. Zach Littell is a 3.78 ERA this year. And also, if it lines up the way that it should and there's no rainouts or anything, every single one of Littell's starts you can easily manipulate to where they're all on the road. So that how I look at it is, I'm not sure Burns would outpitch Littell. I do, however, know Burns would outpitch Littell in the bullpen. I know for a fact that I feel very confident that he should be able to, over 2 inning sample, to come in there and dominate, where Littell's not going to do that.
Right.
He's going to be more of the guy that can give you the length. So, and again, teams not preparing for Burns. I mean, they're going to prepare for Burns, but you're not preparing like he's starting. You go out and you're prepared to face Nick Lodolo, and then in comes Chase Burns.
Right.
He's a lot tougher to face than if you were, looking at video on Burns, during your pregame. When you don't know when he's coming in, I think it's going to make him a lot more effective. So it's just definitely a weapon that gives this team a better chance. And it'll be interesting to see, the longer the Reds are, if they're able to hang around in the race, how much do the Reds follow their rules? Do they get to the last week of the season and say, F it, we're this close, we'll run him out 3 days in a row if he wakes up and feels okay to do it? I mean, I don't think they're ever going to get in a situation where they're going to say, hey, Burns, I don't care if you're sore, you're pitching today. I don't think they're ever going to do that. But will they not keep Burns from himself if this goes longer? That's the interesting thing to kind of follow.
Yeah, one last point I would make is you've seen tonight what a guy with some high velo can do in spots where you feel like, oh, you might be in a tough spot. Tony Santillan gives up a leadoff double, but then he finds a way to Houdini act it a little bit, and he challenges the last guy with just straight fastballs at the top of the zone and says, here, if you can hit it, go for it. But he's not capable of catching up to it because they just flat out have better stuff sometimes. And again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Pagan. He's done a very, very good job, and he can kick guys out, obviously, too. But he just doesn't have that type of level of stuff. He's more or less going to have his off-speed pitches working. He's going to have to be able to locate. He's not going to be able to just rear back and fire it in there and hope that he's going to be able to overpower anybody. And I think sometimes in high-pressure situations, your feel for the game, your ability to locate, unless you're an elite level closer or an elite level player that you've been for a long, long time, I think it's kind of harder to do that versus just saying, hey, here's 100, 101, 102 miles an hour. I'm going to let this thing rip and see what happens. Maxwell did it the other night, Nick. Like we can go down the laundry list of guys that have the types of velos that get you what I would call swing and miss stuff in the bullpen, and Chase Burns has that. One thing before we go into the Daytona Tortugas and their playoffs, I do want to bring up, and shout out to Ned Flanders for even making it a super chat. I did want to bring it up regardless, but we'll take the super chat. He says, the chat demands praise for forgotten man Miguel Andujar. He should get a C-Box shout out. Yeah, listen, he got a massive hit, no doubt about it. And I also, you know what? On a night like tonight, I like to give flowers out to everybody. I like to give flowers out to everybody that was a part of winning ways. J.R. House, although I don't think it was a hard decision. I don't think it was a hard decision at all. In fact, if he decided to stop or hold up, I think it was TJ Friedl. If he would have hold up TJ Friedl in that spot, I would be picketing outside of Great American Ballpark to fire J.R. House. But that said, he sent him. So I'm going to give J.R. House kudos for sending the guy in that spot. I also want to give a shout out to Miguel Andujar for obviously putting bat on ball, finding a way to be strong enough to fist one out to left field and get a base hit that obviously would score Ellie. TJ Friedl's send by J.R. House was the base hit by Ellie, to be clear. Good slide by TJ Friedl as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought for a second Tatis was going to throw him out. And it's just, I can't believe how slow TJ Friedl is. He's been incredible. I'm not hating on Friedl. He's had an incredible year. He's been a good defender despite the speed. But I just cannot believe how slow that guy has gotten. And he still gets butt hits.
Right.
It makes no sense. It is crazy to me.
Yeah.
I do have one last kind of thought on Burns here. Shout out to Terry Francona on this. I love that he is not he's kind of gone away from the set closer, at least over the last couple weeks. It has been whichever one of Pagan and Santillan he feels better on that night, mostly, who's the fresher, which I think is the way to approach this. Because to me, I don't think there's really that big of a gap between either one. I think you're kind of flipping a coin on who could be more effective on any given night. So just go with the guy that's fresher. And I think that also sets up for the potential to make Burns more effective, because if Burns comes in the 7th inning, mows down in the 7th and 8th, why would you take him out in the 9th if he's, feeling good and hasn't thrown that many pitches? Just, you don't have to put in your closer just because it's the 9th inning. It does feel like that could actually set up this whole Burns thing to maybe be more effective. And if Burns gets you through the 9th, well, then Pagan and Santillan are more effective in the next night. And I just feel like Burns has the potential to make every single one of these relievers just better, because Zach Maxwell will be put in better spots. Connor Phillips will be put in better spots. We'll see how it plays out, and maybe they're really have the reins on Burns so crazy that it's like 1 out of every 5 days for 3 innings. I wouldn't love that. I would understand it, but we'll see how it plays out. But it definitely has the potential to really, I think, significantly help this overall pitching staff, not just bullpen.
Well, I think that Chase Burns' decision on whether or not he's going to get the ball is going to really rely on where this team is and how many games back they are. Let's face it. If they're able to go in Sacramento and sweep, and they pick up another game, dare I say 2 games on the Mets, Chase Burns is going to be very much an active part of the bullpen. If they were to somehow find themselves 5 or 6 games back by the end of next week, then Chase Burns is probably going to get shut down. So we'll see ultimately what ends up happening with Chase Burns, but you're giving flowers to Tito as well tonight for that decision to bring in Santillan. I'm going to give him flowers for also pinch hitting Andujar. I know that sounds like maybe it was an obvious decision, but he did make that decision, and Andujar came through. He could have pinch hit other guys that were on the bench, and he didn't do that. So we'll give Tito some credit on a night like tonight for that as well.
Andujar's in a weird spot. I mean, I'm happy he's on the team as like this like super duper pinch hitter, and I don't necessarily even blame them for him not starting. But it's kind of weird. The guy's been incredible, and obviously he's hurt. I don't know how significant that is, but he's in a very weird spot. He's kind of a real wild card over these last couple of weeks. I have no idea what or how much to expect of him.
Andujar seems like a weird case where the Reds wouldn't surprise me a bit if they decided to try to make him a permanent solution in 2025 or 2026, I should say. Whether or not that ends up happening, time will tell. But he certainly had a pretty good audition so far. And to go back to your point about what his role is going to be, it's simply based off of very much like Chase Burns. If the Reds are in it, I could see him starting to take some at-bats away from guys that maybe you'd want to see some at-bats from. Even like Sal Stewart, right? Like if Sal Stewart's not going to play first base, then he more or less might not DH, because Andujar, if he is healthy, is going to get the nod there. And then you could have an opportunity where you could, maybe mix Sal Stewart in. Brian Hayes also, I want to give him a shout out on a night like tonight. I know that, he might not have had the glory, hit and the big city, but he hit the ball incredibly well. Had 2 hits, I believe, and then also
should have been 3.
Had a robbed home run. Like, he has been unbelievably good, and I cannot believe how awesome he has been. I bet if a Pittsburgh fan had to watch the Reds since they got Brian Hayes, they would be sick to their stomach, because this guy obviously was completely absent in Pittsburgh. There's no way in the world that this guy was even close to this good there. But, listen, there's a lot of good takeaways here from tonight's win, and it's easy to do that when you're feeling good. But the truth is that they're going to need to get Marte going right. They're going to need to continue to get good production out of Elly De La Cruz. And then I do think the decision with what happens with Chase Burns will probably make a huge impact on the bullpen. But it's only going to matter, Nick, if this offense can find a way to kind of get going. And hopefully they'll do that in Sacramento, right? Is that where they're playing these games?
Sacramento, Suter Health Park. I'm also assuming Andujar is not, or they do not feel comfortable with him playing in the field, because I don't think he's playing
definitely
in the field.
don't feel. No.
So which makes him almost impossible to start against right-handed pitching, because you're not going to start him. Correct. You're not going to start a half of a Miguel Andujar over Gavin Lux as the DH. You're just not going to do that. So I think that's probably the fact that they just do not feel comfortable with him in the field makes him the super utility, the super pinch hit guy.
Yeah, no doubt. I completely agree. But I would like to see him, if he's healthy, to be the DH if there is a left-handed pitcher, almost under every circumstance there is, if the Reds are in meaningful baseball games, which right now they are. Speaking of meaningful or meaningful baseball games, the Tortugas, they are in the playoffs. Nick, you got an update?
Yeah, tough opener. They were supposed to play on Tuesday, got rained out. They fall 4-2 to St. Lucie. The Tortugas committed 3 errors, 3 unearned runs in the game. The Tortugas now, they were supposed to have an off day. They will no longer have an off day. They'll have to win each of the next 2 games on the road at St. Lucie on Thursday and Friday, both games at 6:10 p.m. Tyson Lewis was 2 for 4, but had 2 errors, so kind of a stinker and obviously led to most of those runs. Alfredo Duno 0 for 3 with a walk. Arnaldo Lantigua was 0 for 4. Mason Neville 0 for 4. Kian Vu, I tell you what, Reds' 9th round pick out of Arizona State, just continues to hit. He was 2 for 4. And shout out to Cole Schoenwetter. He's pitched pretty well here to end the year. Reds' high pick back in 2023. I think he was 4th round. Threw 4 no-hit innings, just 1 walk, struck out 4 batters. So nice to see him pitch very well in a very important game, and gave the Tortugas a chance to win late. We did have some other Reds minor league baseball. How about your Louisville Bats? They've won 11 straight games. They beat Toledo 2-0. They've won 11 straight games now, 15-1 in their last 16 games. They're now 68-72 and have somehow a chance to finish over 500, which would just be an incredible accomplishment for them. Rhys Hines continues to hit 2 for 4, stole his 20th base of the season. Hines hitting 500 in September. CES was 1 for 4. Blake Dunn on base twice, 1 for 4 with a walk. Hector Rodriguez in a little bit of a slump. He was 0 for 4, 0 for 13, has actually not reached base in his last 3 games. Good pitching, though. Luis May, another scoreless inning, did pitch around a couple of base runners. Luis May's only allowed 1 run in 7 2/3 innings since getting optioned. Some of the peripheral numbers don't look good. He's given up a lot of hits and a lot of walks, but he has been getting the job done. Another guy getting the job done is Sam Mole, who's just completely been dominant since he's gotten sent down. He threw a scoreless inning with a strikeout, didn't walk anyone. And Buck Farmer, when is Buck going to get a chance? Buck, another scoreless inning from him. And then the starting pitcher in this one, Jose Franco, kind of one of the more under the radar pitchers for the Reds for our system this year. 4 shutout innings, struck out 6, no hits, did walk 3. He started the year in AA, ended in AAA. Kind of maybe another Julian Aguilar type pitcher that could kind of be a depth piece for the Reds. But I think Franco's a guy that maybe under the radar starting pitching depth heading into 2026. And last but not least, the AA Chattanooga Lookouts, they beat Rocket City 6-3 in 10 innings. Edwin Arroyo 2 for 4 with a walk. Leo Balcazar 2 for 4 with a walk. Cam Collier 1 for 5. Hunter Parks, really good outing from him. 2 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. Parks got promoted to AAA. They got demoted back down. He's had a tough year, but one of the more talented pitchers, throws in the high 90s. And then Trevor Kunsel did give up a run in his inning of work, a very rare run this year, but we'll talk about him more here in a second.
All right, what's the latest on Graham Ashcraft? When's he going to be back is the question of the day. Looked like he was enjoying himself in the lawn seat out there, which made me think about him. I don't know. Trying to do this on the fly here.
We'll face live hitters September 10th. That was yesterday. Yeah. I don't know. I saw that, but I had the radio on and they weren't talking about it, so I didn't catch it. Anyone in the chat catch the update on that?
No, well, they didn't even really talk about it. I just was, he was just hanging out. They were talking about how nice the lawn chairs looked and how comfortable they were. So, which is fine.
He faced live hitters yesterday. I don't know how it went. They did not update the the official injury report, and I don't see any of the Reds beat writers talking about it. So,
yeah. All right. Well, we'll find out. Arizona Fall League, Nick, they were announced today. There was a couple key players that probably are enjoyable to look for. I know that Duno and Collier were on there. Any more names that we should keep an eye out for?
Yeah, Reds announced their Arizona Fall League roster. The Reds are on Peoria this year. The teams usually get 6 players. The Reds announced their teams usually get 8 players. The Reds announced 6 so far, so they might have 2 more. Rhett Lauder, of course, maybe the name to watch. They might be waiting to kind of see where he's at. But Alfredo Duno, kind of surprised that Duno played all year. That they want him to play in the Arizona Fall League. But that's exciting. I'm excited to see what he kind of looks like against some better arms and some of the more talented arms and a lot of arms from higher levels. I'm interested to kind of see where he stacks out. Cam Collier, kind of a no-brainer. He obviously started the year on the IL. Came up, was really hot, then went ice cold, but has played pretty well of late. Be great to see Cam Collier in the Arizona Fall League. See maybe if he's able to parlay that into a big boost heading into 2026. Leo Balcazar has kind of been a guy that's kind of been caught in between. He hasn't had a bad year, but hasn't had a great year at Double-A. He's been a shortstop, but it seems like it's impossible for him to make the big leagues as a shortstop. I'm going to go and say this now. I think Leo Balcazar in the AFL could be maybe sort of putting him there to kind of see trade bait, maybe potentially. I think I could see him being maybe a prospect that the Reds look to trade this offseason if the partner, becomes. Luke Hayden, a pitcher that's started out really, really well with Dayton, struggled, but has pitched decent of late. I think he was an 8th-round pick out of Indiana State last year, so he's a college arm that the Reds, I think, are kind of hoping to kind of boost to the system. Trevor Kuntzel, who's had the most impressive year, I think, of any Reds reliever. I'm really excited to get to see him play against some higher competition. Local kid, St. X grad. Excited to see him in the AFL and kind of see what he can do. It might be a guy that really might not be that far away from the big leagues if he's able to kind of, showcase there. And then Jonathan Harmon, I think more of a depth arm, but had a pretty good year down at Dayton. So, yeah, I'm excited for the AFL. You don't want to make too much of these results because there's been some players that have absolutely stunk up in the AFL and it hasn't really amounted to much. But for those guys, it's good experience. And in the case of like Leo Balcazar, it'll be interesting to see. I think maybe he could be a potential trade candidate, and they kind of want to see what it looks like against other competition and give other teams a chance to look at him as well.
Yeah, we'll see. Reds have some decisions to make this offseason, as we talked about before. We'll see. Hopefully we don't have to worry about that and not really concern ourselves over what they're going to do this offseason because they have a chance to make the postseason, which would be really cool. I don't know if I've ever really considered it to be possible until maybe tonight yet again. We shall find out if it is because they got some big games, and we got to figure out when they play again, Nick. So let's do the who, what, when, where, and you can throw in why if you'd like.
All right. Reds get a day off on Thursday before starting a 3-game series in Sacramento at Suter Health Park. Suter Health Park, the A's temporary home through 2027 before they move to Las Vegas. It is played as a very hitter-friendly park, ranked as the 2nd best park for hitters behind Coors Field. Now, the A's have a great offense, 7th in Major League Baseball in OPS, 4th most home runs. Their offense has been really good this year, but they're just 30-42 in their temporary home ballpark. They are 37-38, however, on the road. The A's have not announced their starters officially this weekend. We're going off of what Fangraphs projects. But Friday, 10:05, Brady Singer against potentially JT Ginn, a right-handed pitcher, 3-6 with a 4.95 ERA. Saturday, 10:05 as well, Hunter Green against Luis Severino, the surprising $60 million man for the A's. Had a pretty tough year, 6-11, 4.67 ERA. And then Sunday, 4:05, Nick Lodolo against right-handed pitcher Luis Morales. He is the A's number 4 ranked prospect, making just his 7th big league start. With the A's 67-80, they actually snapped a 3-game losing streak earlier in the day on Wednesday against the Red Sox. They're 4-8 in their last 12, but this is a team that is 44-40 since early June. They got off to a brutal start, but have actually played pretty good baseball. As mentioned, really good offense, have some really talented players. That Nick Kurtz guy's playing pretty well. It'd be fun to maybe get to see a potential Kurtz-Burns matchup that I'm sure no one would make any over dramatic on the results. But the A's pitching is not good. Their bullpen ranks 26th in Major League Baseball in ERA. So they are kind of the opposite of the San Diego Padres.
All right. Well, we shall find out if the Reds can find a way to get us excited. We'll be back, obviously, on Sunday night. Myself and Nick, are you going to do one more on Sunday night?
I'm doing Friday night. Friday night, 10:05. The game. Right. I'm going to do it with Craig, and that will be my last show until the last week of the season. I'll come back. Hopefully, we'll see what. This will be the ultimate. We do the whole. What we're going to be back when we come back on Sunday when I hang up the. When I hang up the stream on Friday night, like, well, am I coming back to wrap up the season over the final 7 games, or am I coming back to for the most exciting 7 Chatterbox Red shows ever? I have no idea.
That's a good point. Nobody does know. You got to find a way to watch the games to find out. And if you do watch the games, go ahead.
Mets are in action tomorrow. Right. Pretty good pitching matchup against the Phillies. It's actually a national Fox game. David Peterson, Jesus Luzardo, 7:15. The Giants are off. So, obviously this is a huge game for the Reds. 2.5 or 1.5.
Yeah, no, a huge game. And 1.5, as a reminder, want to let everybody know that we do hold the tiebreaker. So the closer we can get to that tie, that is a win for the Reds. So let's find a way to see if we can't get ourselves in a spot where we keep on gaining some games. And you know what? Just keep demoralizing the Mets. That's what I'm thinking. I don't want the Mets to feel like they got any momentum at all. Just keep on beating them down. And hopefully the Reds will take advantage of it, because it seems like they've had an excellent opportunity over the last few weeks to do such, and they kind of took advantage of it this weekend or this week. We'll see if they can do it this weekend as well. As a reminder, on Friday, you'd heard it from the man himself, Nick and Craig will be here, hopefully recapping a huge win in Sacramento, as we all watch from whatever ballpark that's going to look like. I can't wait to see what this whole operation looks like. But nonetheless, I just want to say thank you to everybody. Before you leave, make sure you hit the like button. We do have a super chat from Future Talent. He says, "We may not win a playoff game, but we are damn blessed to have some of the best game and radio hosts, and by far the best post-game show and podcast." Thank you, Future. That's very nice of you to say. Let's hope we have it all, Let's what's the saying? Let's have our cake and eat it too, which is always kind of a unique saying. I always like, what do they mean by that? I guess I get it, kind of like you can't eat your cake but still have it. Is that the whole point of that message? Because if it is, that seems like a really crazy saying to stick around through multiple generations. But nonetheless, shout out to Future Talent. Thank you for very much supporting us. And he finally sends us off right. He said, likes. Is it possible from a TV? Figure it out. That's right. I don't know if it's possible from a TV. I don't know. I doubt it. Very, very, very unlikely that you could do it. But I do know this. You can get on your phone real quick, hit the like button. And if you haven't already, please hit the like button on the way out. And if you're watching this post-game or after the fact, hit the like button as well. Leave some comments for us, and we very much appreciate it. I do want to say, going forward next season, me and Nick will regroup. We'll try to figure out kind of some other opportunities for some people that do watch these after the fact. I know that there's not a chance to maybe super chat per se during the show because you're not watching it live. There might be. We'll come up with a way where we can get some questions or something along those lines submitted for the folks that watch the show after the fact, and we can maybe bring those up on the next actual show and podcast. So thank you to everybody for supporting us, and more importantly, thank you for being loyal and go Reds as always. We'll see you back here again on Friday night. Go Phillies. That's the most important thing tomorrow. Take care, everybody. We love you. We appreciate you. Go Reds.